What's up everyone, for coming at you with a brand new Yugioh discussion video, and today we're talking about the new recently announced Rose Dragon cards coming out in Lightning Overdrive. This is technically the third wave of Rose Dragon support, with the archetype becoming a full-fledged archetype back in Sisters of the Rose. There are a few members of the archetype prior to that with Blue Rose Dragon and of course Black Rose Dragon, but finally we do get a brand new upgraded form of the Black Rose Dragon that is part of the Rose Dragon archetype. And we get a brand new main deck Rose Dragon, plus another synchro and a really cool new spell. Now, of course, these other two premium cards like White Rose Cloister and Rose Princess aren't actually here in the TCG yet, but the OCG, as far as I'm aware, don't have Rose Girl. So there's a chance we may get those in Lightning Overdrive for us when they get imported, or they'll probably be imported in a product closer to the release of that. Now, of course, we're going to go through these cards. I'm going to go through them as best as I can. I'm not going to know every combo because I am not an expert on synchro decks. This is probably the first synchro deck that I've ever messed around with. So, of course, this is just going to be very basic, my thoughts on them, doing a little bit of testing that I've done with them. Of course, let me know your thoughts on these cards in the comments below. And if you do like this video, consider subscribing. It really does help a lot. Thank you guys, and let's jump into the video. We'll start things off first with the brand new main deck Rose Dragon monster, and this is Rox Rose Dragon. If it's normal or special summoned, you can add a card that specifically lists Black Rose Dragon in its text from your deck to your hand, except itself. If a face-up Rose Dragon monster or monsters and or plant synchro monster or monsters you control is destroyed by battle or an opponent's card effect while it's in your graveyard, you can add it back to your hand. You can only use this effect of Rox Rose Dragon, each effect once per turn. So this is a really cool new tuner for the deck. Basically has an effect on normal or special, so if you normal it by its own effect, or if you special summon it through White Rose Dragon, or the new spell specifically, or even Monster Reborn, you get to go ahead and search out for any card in your deck that lists Black Rose Dragon as tech. Now, sadly, it can't search White Rose Dragon, and in a lot of testing I've done, at least trying to stay pure as possible, the deck doesn't really have enough level 4 monsters. Being able to search out any card that lists Black Rose Dragon can even search out some really obscure old cards like Thorn of Malice, which is a really funny card. I really do like this card. It's a new level 3 tuner. It's an alternative to Red Rose Dragon, so if you don't get your Red Rose, you can actually still make plays. And arguably, I'd say this is definitely much more of a 3-up than this. This can search some cards as well if it's used to summon Black Rose Dragon or plant synchro. This really doesn't have the limitations for its special effects like that. And yeah, really cool, especially because it can go search out the new quick play spell that can actually bring your Rose Dragons back. This is the big one, the new Black Rose Dragon. Finally, after all this time, we finally have an upgraded boss monster, Black Rose Dragon, and it is insane. This is Blood Rose Dragon, and probably the name is going to be changed once it comes to the TCG, but who actually knows? So it requires one tuner and one or more non-tuner monsters, and it's a level 10 Fire Dragon Synchro. Of course, worth noting again that it's keeping the fire attribute like the original Black Rose, but all the main deck Rose Dragons seem to be dark. If it's synchro summoned, you can banish as many cards as possible from the graveyards. Then if it was synchro summoned using Black Rose Dragon or a plant synchro monster as material, you can destroy all other cards on the field. When your opponent activates a card or effect that would destroy a card or cards, a quick effect, you contribute this card, negate the activation, and if you do, special summon one Black Rose Dragon from your extra deck or your graveyard. Now, there is a lot to unpack here with this card. This card is really good. So, firstly, it has a much more powerful effect where being able to nuke people's graveyards to banish can be very powerful against specific decks. And this is definitely not a card you're going to be wanting to make a lot of the time. It does have that really nice interruption effect on it as well as a quick effect. It's really cool. And of course, I like that you can use this effect if you use Black Rose Dragon or a plant synchro monster, so you don't specifically have to like climb up from Black Rose Dragon into this. And of course, this being level 10 means that you can use one of your level 3 Rose Dragon tuners. There's lots of ways to get this out on the field within the archetype. Yeah, this is a really nice card. Probably maybe a 1 or a 2 of in the extra deck. As a boss monster, it's really cool. Next up, we have their brand new spell card, which is called Basil Rose Shot. Now, this is a quick play spell that allows you to special summon a Rose Dragon monster from your hand or graveyard in defense position. If this set card is destroyed, you can target one of your Black Rose Dragon or one of your monsters that specifically lists that card in its text that is banished or in your graveyard, special summon it. You can only use each effect of Basil Rose Shot once per turn. This is absolutely fantastic. One thing I've noticed a lot with this archetype is that it really can struggle to get cards and monsters on the field. Especially like if you're splashing a lot of other stuff, yes, it can extend a little bit, but you really want to be able to get a lot of monsters on the field as quickly as possible. Of course, opening up White Rose Dragon and any other Rose Dragon, of course, is really, really good, with the exception of course, Blue Rose, because it's not a tuner. But opening White Rose and either Red Rose or Rox Rose Dragon can be really good. But the ability to be able to summon one of them out from your hand or the graveyard can be great. It's also a quick play, so you can use it defensively to bring your monsters out. Especially, you can use this to bring your Rox Rose Dragon out in your opponent's turn to get another search effect off. This is really, really versatile. The fact it's also searchable by Rox Rose Dragon, arguably I say this is a lot better in my opinion than Frozen Rose. Of course, Frozen Rose still a really good card for the archetype, but Frozen Rose, I think, has some advantages as it's more splashable in other decks. This is a really, really cool card. I love that it's searchable, and definitely, the fact that it's searchable means you could probably get away with this as a 2 of, but you would probably want to run this at 3. Next up, we have the new non-plant, non-dragon member of the archetype from the main deck. The thing about Akiza's deck is initially it wasn't plants and dragons. It was more like Rose was the archetype. And so you had cards like Witch of the Black Rose, Twilight Rose Knight, stuff like that. So this is a really cool new card that actually works with Witch of the Black Rose. So this is Witch of the Blood Rose. So you contribute her, then add 1 Witch of the Black Rose from your deck to your hand. And if you do, you get to place a level 3 or lower plant monster from your deck on top of your deck. And immediately after this effect resolves, you can normal summon 1 Witch of the Black Rose from your hand. You can banish this card from your graveyard to return one of your Black Rose Dragon or Blood Rose Dragon that is banished in your graveyard to the extra deck. You can only use each effect of Witch of the Blood Rose once per turn. Now, if you guys don't know Witch of the Black Rose, when it's normal summoned, you can't special summon it. And when it's normal summoned, you reveal the top card of your deck, draw the top card of your deck. If it's not a monster, you destroy the card. Now, obviously, I really do like that you get to do that normal summon effect, and then you can use something like your spell here to actually go ahead and special summon that tuner and go ahead and make Black Rose. I really do like its graveyard effect to return your Black Rose or your Blood Rose back to your extra deck, because we know the big and really cool effects of this deck with Blood Rose and Black Rose are they're on summon effects to destroy the field. So I really do like that the archetype now has a way to put those cards back in the extra deck. Whether or not I would run this for its effect for Witch of the Black Rose is a little bit questionable. I'm not 100% sure. I'm still trying to work out the correct ratios for this deck, and I do like this card, but the fact that it's a spellcaster really kind of makes things a little bit weird. I know they did Dark Rose Fairy, which is really good despite not being a plant or a dragon. Has this really cool fact where it can summon itself from your hand if you special a tuner. If a tuner monster gets summoned or special summoned. So that's some really cool synergy you have there. But yeah, if you definitely want to go down the route where you want to play, you want to put Witch of the Black Rose in your deck, this is a nice reference to that. Whether or not we get a reference to Twilight Rose Knight going forward in the future, I don't know, but there's always a chance. Finally, taking a look at their brand new Synchro monster that is not a dragon. So this is much more of a splashable in a plant Synchro deck as opposed to more of a Black Rose Dragon kind of card. Now, of course, this is an alternative level 5 Synchro for the archetype as opposed to Garden Rose. We know Garden Rose is really, really good in terms of with Link Drag. I think with Dragon Link, this card sees a lot of play because she definitely cares about dragons. So I really do like Garden Rose. But this is a really cool card too, and it does definitely do some nice synergy with the archetype. So it's a level 5 light plant Synchro. So this is light, and Garden Rose Maiden is dark, so we have a light and a dark. With 1 tuner and 1 or more non-tuner monsters. So you can target a field spell on the field. You cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except Synchros and destroy the target. Then you can special summon 1 Rose token, so exactly the same tokens that Blooming of the Darkest Rose and Black Garden make, which are Plant Dark level 2 with 800 attack and 800 defense to its controller's field in attack position. You can only use this effect as a hard once per turn. Once per chain during your opponent's main phase, you can quick effect immediately after this effect resolves, Synchro Summon during this using this card you control. So you can actually Synchro Summon, in your opponent's turn. And I know there are decks that do that better, but I do really worry about these effects that let you summon in your own turn, especially with Black Garden being on the field, because I get the idea of, oh, you know, there's another card that can summon Black Rose in your opponent's turn, because obviously Rox Rose Dragon has this really nifty effect where you can use this combo to basically bring out Black Rose in your opponent's turn and nuke it. Now, I really do like the fact that this, sadly, yeah, again, it's annoying. I like that it has the effect, but it's limited to just the main phase. So it's really easy for your opponents to play around this and Rox Rose Dragon, where people read, believe it or not, people can actually read card effects, and they do read cards. So the whole surprise of, oh, look, I can summon Black Rose Dragon in your turn, it can be a little bit not really threatening, as your opponent probably just won't do anything. They'll summon one monster. They'll beat over your, they'll beat over your Rox Rose, or they'll beat over this, because she only has 1600 defense. So pretty much any normal summon can beat this. So, but the good thing is with Garden Rose Flora is she's not specifically limited to summoning a Rose Dragon or Black Rose Dragon. So you can summon out any synchro you want with this in your opponent's turn. So if you want to like cheat out Omega or something like that, you can, because again, remember, the new spell is a quick play, so you can actually bring back one of your Rose Dragons from your graveyard. And of course we have 2 Rose Dragon tuners with Rox Rose and Red Rose that we can bring back, and then we can also use this to synchro summon in our opponent's turn. So there is definitely some synergy here, which I really do like. Overall, I think this support is really decent. Whether or not it is competitively viable as a pure deck, definitely, I don't know. It's hard to say. I'm not an expert on synchros, but this is a deck that I really want to get working. I really do like Akiza. I really do like the idea of like a dragon plant deck. It's very unique, and there's definitely a lot of support that seems to be coming out for this deck. Akiza continues to be a very popular character that they definitely want to make cards for, so I'm very, very happy with this support. I definitely want to see another level 4 Rose Dragon from the main deck. Of course, having we do already have 2 level 4, Rose Dragons with Blue Rose and White Rose, but Blue Rose doesn't really do a lot for this deck, other than the fact you just cheat it out with the White Rose into Red Rose, make Black Rose, nuke the field, summon this, nuke the field, and then you get the search off this. That's like this whole gimmicky combo the initial gimmicky combo that you were able to pull off with these 3 cards back when the Rose Dragon support first came out. But overall, I think this is a really nice wave of legacy-ish. Is it weird to say Rose Dragons are a legacy deck? Technically they're not, but they are, because they're still relatively new as an archetype. But overall, that is just my initial thoughts on these cards. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you guys run in your versions of the deck? Do you run any of the other old Akiza themed cards like Rose Fairy? Or even, for an example, do you run White Rose Cloister or Rose Princess? What are your thoughts on those? I believe I did a video on those a while back. Let me know your thoughts. If you do like this video, remember to give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. Really does help out a lot. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you for the next video.